of the eve. We have the second Capricorn full moon just 2 days away, occurring on July 21st at 7/7/18 CST time. So make sure that you adjust your findings to your location. This second Capricorn full moon reading is entitled Fairy Tales Can Come True, but ... Fairy tales can come true in lieu of. Fairy tales can come true, but first, we must first identify what a fairy tale means to us individually. Then we have to be willing to go through all of the ups and downs of a fairy tale story. I mean, take any Disney story. A lot of Disney stories start out at death. They start out at the point of perish, where the person or the character could just crumble and die and leave it at that. But it's at that point of death, or at that point of ending, that birth, new life, opportunity, the story is actually just beginning. We go on a whole journey with our Disney characters, from the beginning when they lose something or someone, to the middle when they lose themselves, to the end when they find themselves and what they lost and they gain it all back. If you got a chance to tune into the first recording that I had on Patreon regarding this Capricorn full moon in June, I paralleled the story with the story of Job and how he had it all, he lost it all, lost himself, gained it all back, and it all sounds very Saturnanian to me. So that the same thing is true here with fairy tales can come true, but we have to first identify what the fairy tale is to us individually. We have to be willing to go through the villain, the uncertain time, the delays, the loss of self, before we're able to reach that glorious rainbow. Ask yourself, how has your spiritual upgrade transpired since the first Capricorn full moon? A literal calendar month ago, and just a couple of days ago. What I find the dopest about these two Capricorn full moons, I mean, on top of it being a year 8, which is Saturn rules Capricorn, and our year being bookended with a new moon in Capricorn at the beginning of the year, and then our final new moon of the year being in Capricorn. But what I love about this series is the first full moon in Capricorn occurred at 1 degree of Capricorn, and this one is occurring at 29 degrees. So in a 30-day cycle, we have learned so much, we have lost so much, we have grown, evolved, transpired, transfused, transcended past what we started the fairy tale at. The first degree is the degree of earning. You will have to pay what you weigh. The Aries degree, you will have to use your head. You will have to roll your sleeves up. You will have to get out there and get ugly with it. The 29th degree is the magic degree. It's the degree of longevity and long-time rewards, which is parallel with Saturn. Saturn doesn't make your journey easy, because Saturn knows that you will need every lesson. You will need every feather in your cap. You will need every arrow on your compass to get where you are headed in the long term. Longevity. Capricorn rules the 10th house in your birth chart. So you'll want to go and see how your 10th house is being affected and how directly your Capricorn placement is being affected. But the degree of magic, longevity, and rewards. So when you stop and you think back to, we can think back to last March when Saturn moved into Pisces, or you can go back to the Sagittarius full moon at the beginning of summer and see what have you been working towards for the long term. This year has done a lot of unfolding and unlayering about the necessary work that has to be done internally and externally. The necessity of not skipping steps. The intention of being present and knowing why everything works the way it works, or why you have to use what you use in order for it to work effectively, and not skipping steps in order to get there. And that's, again, very Saturnian. Now through August 4th is going to be the ideal time for you to tie down and take care of the necessities in order to live independently and usher in the desired stability that you seek. And the reason why I say that is because we're, one, moving into the Lionsgate portal, which actually began to open up yesterday, or the alignment began to happen yesterday, and it will be through August 11th. But then also because we're going to then have a new moon in Leo. And it's kind of like, you know, I said on Patreon, Saturn Claus is coming to town. Saturn Claus is coming. It's like you want Daddy Saturn to, when he checks that list on you, to be proud and reward you. You don't want to be on the bullshit. But you are, listen. There's not much that you can do within 2 days to get Daddy Saturn off that ass, because he's already gotten the report. He already knows what you've been up to. He already knows what you've been hiding from. He gets it. But he hopes that you understand that you will not be getting what it is that you wanted. Your spiritual upgrade may stop just right here, because you got a class to repeat or two. But August 4th will have that new moon in Leo. And that's also going to be a time of rewards, shining abundance on the parts of your life that you've really been working on. Now I want you to think back to January, or even March, if you are a person like me who likes to set resolutions in March, not January, because it's not the real new year. Ask yourself, are you where you want to be? Are you where you said you would be by now? What is working in your favor and what needs to be released? You can even pull cards on that if you're a tarot girly or oracle girly or boy or person. Pull your own energy on that and see what comes up for you. But then really sit in introspection and reflection about, are you where you want to be? Are you said where you would be by now? And what is working and what needs to go? Because July, Cancer season, gateway of the second half of the year. You're able to stop and look and say, this is what I've been doing for 6 months. And for 6 months, this has not been working. So today is when I do something different. And change begins within. Change begins within. You can change your hair. You can change your eyes. You can change your makeup. You can change your clothes. But if you have not changed within the vibration and the frequency of diligence, dedication, motivation, your own internal inspiration, then it will not change externally for the long term. And again, the 29th degree, long-term goals. We're here for a long time, not a good time. All summer we've been on this spiritual curriculum, and it started at the graduation ceremony of the Sagittarius full moon. I know some of us had summer classes we had to make up. It was some, when other people were receiving rewards, we were looking like, well, but wait, where's my diploma? Hey, but where's my reward? Hey. And that was the first inkling that there was more work to be done. But that was back in June. So you can now gauge your progression of how far you have come and what else needs to be done. And I was relating this whole summer to like a graduation ceremony or a commencement ceremony, and also with it being a Saturn ruled ceremony or Saturn rules summer, Saturn rules graduations and retirements. So with that being said, with that analogy, we're in this bittersweet moment right now before we leave for college. We're embarking on a new batch of lessons while leaving a comfort zone behind. This is where we applaud ourselves for everything that we've learned. Don't talk down on yourself, because one thing about Saturn is tough. Saturn is a hard dad, a strict father, but he does not want you to diminish your efforts. He does not want you to shun yourself or shrink yourself. He wants you to applaud yourself. Just don't get cocky. Saturn will tell you when to get cocky. Saturn will give you your crown. Crown consciousness, Christ consciousness. Christ had a thorn crown. Saturn has a crown around its head. You will receive your enlightenment. You will know when it is time for you to feel a little bit, puff your chest out. But Saturn will humble you very quickly. But Saturn never wants you to shit on yourself or belittle yourself. Be proud of what you've accomplished, how far you have come, but then know that there's so much further to go. Like that's also a very Saturn-based thing. Like, great, we're going to celebrate today. I like to think of Saturn as 300. If you've not seen the movie, go watch it. When they win that first battle, all of the warriors on Leonidas' side are celebrating. Woo, 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 we won. But Leonidas is standing on the top of the mountain and he's looking off into the distance and he's really looking at the enemies that they're going to fight tomorrow. And he's like, I'm grateful that we won, you know. But tomorrow we have a greater battle in front of us. We killed 300 a day people. They coming for us tomorrow and we only have 250 people left, right? So I like to look at that as very Saturnian too. Let's not celebrate too quickly. Let's be happy that we got over the hill. But let's be honest with ourselves about how much further we have to go before we actually achieve the goal. And when you're reprogramming, repairing, rebuilding, remember we are in retrograde. Saturn, Neptune, Pluto, Mercury retrograde shadow phase just entered the game yesterday. Mercury goes retrograde on August 1st or 4th. Don't give me the lion, in Virgo. And then it will station direct in Leo. So that's going to be a very interesting time. Again, why you want to get all of your documents in order. You want to take care of what needs to be taken care of. Do not run from it. If you try to run from it, it will chase you down. And the chase down is not going to be that. You know, it's the equivalent to being jumped. You don't want that. This full moon is multidimensional because it's going to have a conjunction with Pluto within just a couple of degree points. So the Capricorn full moon is happening at 29 degrees of Capricorn and Pluto retrograde in Aquarius is at 2 degrees. So those degree points are very close with one another. And the ancient ruler of Aquarius is Saturn. So again, this is a very multidimensional, multifaceted rebuild. Like of lifetimes. Of lifetimes. The focus that will be on your head or at the top of your to-do list is what's to come, what's inescapable, and what is inevitable. You know, preparing for said things. Like for one, people don't like to talk about death, but we know that we will all die one day. So the best that you can do is have life insurance, have that shit set up so that when your time comes, because it's not an if, when your time comes, your family doesn't have to grieve as hard to figure out how they're going to bury you. We all know that that's going to happen. We all know that we need money or financial stability and support. If you can look at the last 6 months of your finances, or maybe even the last year of your finances, because we're going back to Saturn going into Pisces the last March. The reality check. This Capricorn full moon, again, also being